Okay, should be recording. All right, well, welcome to the first installment of the NSCP Summer Transfer Summer Series. This will be a series of resource presentations. So every Wednesday, a new resource will be coming to us and sharing about their department, and then we'll have some student leaders sharing their experiences as transfer students and transfer WOW leaders as well. So today we have Chris from University Housing, so I'll go ahead and pass it to you.
Hi, my name is Chris Move-in. I'm a marketing and public affairs specialist with University Housing. And today we're going to talk about some of our housing options for transfer students. Our transfer students will be living in apartment communities with our returning second years and third and fourth years. All of our first years are housed in residence halls, and all of our returning second years and third and fourth years who are able to secure campus housing live in apartments. The apartments tend to be 4 bedrooms with single beds per room. Some rooms are double. The two specific communities will be Poly Canyon Village and Cerro Vista. Cerro Vista is up against the hillside, which opens up onto some of the best hikes in San Luis Obispo. It also, each of the units has outside entry without having to go through hallways. Poly Canyon Village is where there's food and a pool and a volleyball court that is accessible for anyone who lives in the apartment. So the residents of Cerro can also go use those facilities at Poly Canyon Village. We don't have enough housing for all of our transfer students. Right now, we are working off the interest list and we are offering off the interest list, but we do recommend that any transfer student who hasn't secured housing at this point looks into living off campus. San Luis Obispo has a large number of apartments and houses that are available for student renters from property managers, and you can find most of those property managers on our website at housing.calpoly.edu. If you scroll down on the website, you'll see a tab for off-campus housing resources that includes an educated renter certificate program that we work with local renters to help students who don't have an established rental history have credibility in the rental market. Another thing that's very common for transfer students is to go on local social media groups, Craigslist, and communicate with other Cal Poly students about finding roommates and rentals. The market is very open to students. San Luis Obispo does not have a bad neighborhood dominated by the student community. The perks of living on campus, though, if you're one of those students who was lucky enough to secure campus housing, is free laundry. Laundry is included. We also have the laundry set up with an app so that you can see which laundry rooms have open washers and dryers before you go down there. We have social programming activities throughout the communities. This is organized by our RAs and CSDs. Our CSDs are professional level staff who manage the RAs who are student peers. All of our housing communities have a quick walk to classes, labs, and other education facilities, as well as dining and faculty offices. And we found that students who live on campus have access to these resources, and it helps with their retention and success. The room types for transfer students will be in the campus apartments. They are primarily 4-bedroom apartments for 4 students. Most of the students will have their own bedroom, and they'll share a bathroom and kitchens and living space with the other apartment members. The students who will be placed in the apartments will be placed based on the residential learning community that they selected in their housing application. The residential learning communities are a way of us finding students of like-minded experiences in college so that they can find that community to connect to. We understand that we are unique in the Cal State system and that our student body comes from outside of our geographic base. And we want to provide as much community as we can because we found that it's more important with who students live with than where they live. That really does help their retention much more. We just worked through room selection. The students who signed up for housing and who were approved by June 1st were able to participate. Room selection ended on July 12th, and right now we are in the process of room changes. This will be going on all week, so if you sign into your housing portal and you see that there are rooms available that you'd like to switch into, you can do that up until Friday, July 22nd. At that date, the room change process will close and will reopen again 2 weeks after move-in. So that for students who want to move their rooms within the semester, that will be an option for them. Some important dates to remember coming up for housing. Your housing fees will post to your student accounts on Wednesday, August 10th, and your last day to cancel housing and avoid any fees is August 14th. The first day of classes is September 14th, so this is just a standard 30 days notice as you would for any other rental company. And your first housing payment is due by Thursday, September 1st. You can pay all at once for the whole year, by quarter, or by month. What we are getting ready for now is Mustang Move-in. Mustang Move-in is one of housing's biggest events, and it's an airport-style assisted move-in. Right now, it's scheduled for Tuesday, September 13th and Wednesday, September 14th for transfer students. Week of Welcome starts on September 14th. So once you get into housing, you'll immediately start Week of Welcome and then immediately go into your classes. What is Mustang Move-in? Mustang Move-in, we move in 5,200 first-year and transfer students in 2 days. That's slightly larger than the city of Pismo Beach. So it's a large population of students. There's a lot of moving parts. And so we make sure that the move-in appointments are required. So you'll pick an appointment to bring your car onto campus. And the appointment system will open on August 17th. You can switch these appointments up until the system closes, which will be a week before move-in begins. So if you've made travel plans and you need to make some changes, that option is there for you. The appointment times essentially will bring the supporter and the student. The supporter will drive the student into the zone, drop off the student's belongings. The students will get a green bin, and a welcome team will point them to their nearest residence hall, where the supporter will then take the car, drive, park in long-term parking, and bring a shuttle that will be rotating back so they can enjoy the move-in festivities with their student, take pictures, things like that. And those shuttles will be moving all day. Those emails for appointments will go to Cal Poly emails account in mid-August. This is a small video we have to show you what to expect from the move-in experience.
Chris, I think you need to reshare with adding sound to the share.
Sorry, what was that?
The video wasn't playing sound. I think you need to share your screen with sound attached.
Share sound. Can we cut and put that in there, or is that?
Yeah, I can pause it. Okay, go ahead.
Hey new Mustangs, your move-in experience at Cal Poly is just around the corner. This will be your opportunity to step out of your comfort zone, create new memories, and make friendships that will last a lifetime.
Moving to Cal Poly is a big day. It's a lot to wrap your head around. The good news is we planned it all out for you so you can look forward to a safe, convenient, and fun experience.
To plan ahead, make sure you know your correct room assignments and move-in arrival date and time.
And then plan your travel accordingly to ensure that you arrive at the selected time.
The drop-off zones for the Sierra Madre and Yosemite Halls, as well as our Yaqui Tutu community, are through the Grand Avenue campus entry point. Make sure you enter through the correct campus entry point to keep traffic flowing throughout the day. Follow the colored routes on your move-in map and driving signs to your community. At this point, you'll want to pull out your Mustang Move-in pass or bring it up on your phone to get verified. Volunteers will guide you to your correct spots where you'll pull in, unload quickly, and then your driver will go to long-term parking while you go to your building for check-in.
Shuttles will be looping around campus to bring drivers back throughout the day so they won't miss out on any of your move-in experience.
Our Mustang welcome team, wearing these bright green shirts, are here to assist you by answering questions, directing traffic, unloading your cars, and moving your belongings to your new residence hall.
Rolling bins will be located at the drop-off zones and throughout all living communities.
Lastly, if you haven't discovered what you should or should not pack, make sure you check out our downloadable pack list and suggestions at our move-in webpage at housing.calpoly.edu.
Seriously though, pack light. There's nothing worse than moving in all of your stuff and then having to haul half of it back to the car an hour later.
And that's it. Welcome to your campus living community here at Cal Poly.
We can't wait to see you here.
So tips for move-in. As you can see from the video, please stick to your planned move-in appointment time. While we understand things happen, these appointment times make sure that traffic remains flowing throughout town. Prior to this, we did not have move-in appointments, and students could show up when they would, and traffic would back up on the 101 for miles and miles and miles. So it really does help keep everyone happier if you stick to your move-in appointments and use the map that we will send to you. We'll send maps to both supporters and the students, not your GPS, because we'll be closing off some of the roads, and your GPS won't note that. If you drive onto campus, follow your GPS, and that road is closed, you'll be given a map and told how to go onto the right entrance. Have your Mustang Move-in pass ready, which will also be emailed to you. This will just essentially be a colored pass that corresponds to the zone, because we have our residence halls divided up by colors. So the towers is the blue zone and Yaki Tutu is the orange zone. Follow the signs. There will be many of them, and don't, as they said, don't bring everything, pack light. This is an example of the map that you will be getting. This is last year's map, and it shows you where the long-term parking is, where the shuttle stops are, and where the routes are for North Mountain, South Mountain, and Cerro Vista apartments. You can see that all of the routes are coordinated by those colored zones. And so these will be given to you via email so that you know the right campus entrance and the right parking destination for your specific residence hall zone. So there's no U-Hauls, there's no trailers or oversized vehicles. They don't fit in our zone parking spaces. And if you do have a U-Haul, you will be turned around, sent off campus, and it will be a long walk with your stuff to get to your residence hall. So please don't bring them. And beyond that, the amount of stuff that you would put into your apartment will not, a U-Haul, there's no corresponding amount that you can fit into a U-Haul and fit into your apartment. You won't need the stuff that's in there. So the stuff that's free to bring, stuff that we encourage you to bring, specifically a fan, a box fan for the window. San Luis Obispo has a temperate climate. However, it does get warm, specifically in the late fall. Having a box fan generally takes care of that. Bike lock, U-lock is pretty standard and safe. And then bedding is twin XL, not just twin. It's a little bit longer. Things that you cannot bring, and we have this list on our website if you want to see the full list, is any cooking thing that has a heating element. So rice cookers, you won't need microwaves. There's a microwave in every kitchen, and in every apartment there's a microwave. There's also a full fridge in every apartment. So you won't need mini fridges. You won't need any of that stuff. Anything that could cause a fire, you're not allowed to have. It overloads the circuits in our system. We also ask you to please consider going green and using reusable bags instead of cardboard boxes. You won't need the volume of things that fit in cardboard boxes, first and foremost. And secondly, at the end of move-in, there's just bins and bins filled with cardboard boxes that don't need to be there. So we really ask you to please help us be as sustainable as possible and bring reusable bags whenever possible. A new option this year is ship to room, where you can have your items shipped to your room prior to move-in. The fee is $150, and our staff will put any of the items you send into the room. Deadline to sign up is for August 31st, and you can find more information on our website on the Mustang Move-in page. One of the things we really focus on in housing, again, is not so much where you live, but who you live with. We offer a good deal of programming. We have faculty and residents. Faculty live on campus. One of the most popular programs over the past few years was we had a botany professor who would host teas, but would also host hikes out with students. And any student of any major or RLC was able to participate. The residential learning communities each have individual programming that they are tasked to develop for those specific communities. And our RAs and in-building staff, we have RAs who are peer support. They're students who've gone through a training course and are there to help students on a peer level. And they're managed by CSDs who are staff who have at least a graduate degree in counseling, education, something like that, who live on campus to manage the RAs. And while they do a lot of conflict management, they also do a lot of programming and event planning, and really try to build that community to connect you with everyone in your apartment and all the people who live around you. If you want to get involved with housing, Interhousing Council is a great way. They have tangible projects all across campus. One of the most obvious examples is the bottle stations that you find around campus to fill up your water bottles. That was an IHC project. More information will come out about that in the fall. And we have student-led housing tours most weekdays at 12:10 or 1:40 p.m. Feel free to sign up by scanning this QR code. And that's the end of my presentation. If there are any questions, you can please feel free to connect with us along these contact information. You can also email me direct at cdemoville, CDEMOVIL @calpoly.edu.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris, for that presentation about university housing. Now we'll transition over into a quick Q&A. And so I'll have Victoria introduce herself, and then we'll go into some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. My name is Victoria, and I'm going into my 4th year at Cal Poly. I'm a journalism major with a math minor, and I'm originally from LA, and I use the pronouns she, her, hers. And I just wanted to start off with thank you for that presentation. I honestly didn't know a lot of those things when I was first moving in and when I was considering housing on campus last year.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here, Victoria. My question for you is, like, what was your experience of you came to Cal Poly and lived off campus? So what was your experience? What tips do you have of navigating that experience in San Luis Obispo?
Yeah, so I decided to commit to Cal Poly a bit late. So there weren't any more spaces left on campus for on-campus housing. So I decided to first hop onto the Cal Poly website, and they have a really useful list of off-campus housing and different places you can search on the internet to find housing around SLO. So that was one of the first things I did. I also hopped onto Facebook and different social media sites, which were really helpful as well. I would really recommend, especially on Facebook, housing groups for Cal Poly, which often feature a lot of students who are willing to either lease apartments or rooms, who may also have tips as to housing situations around SLO. And that was one of the first places I hopped onto after the Cal Poly website to kind of get an idea of where students, especially transfer students, end up going and looking for housing. So yes, that is the link that was sent in the chat. And I personally, once I found that website, I went through every single place. I went calling. Everyone was super nice around SLO. And even if they didn't have space, they would let me know where else. Some places let me know what other places to check out that were really student friendly. And that really did help narrow down the search. And I was very fortunate to find a space very near campus. It's about a 15-minute walk. So I didn't need a car. So I did walk to school. It was close by. And I did have 4 other roommates. So there was 5 of us in an apartment, and I had 4 other roommates. And so finding roommates was also another journey that I had to kind of go over. And I actually got random roommates, so I didn't really have a choice in who I got in my room. But I believe the place that I have my housing at, they chose our roommates based on our interests and basically who would work best with one another. And so once we got paired together, one of the first things we did was make an Excel sheet of things we knew we could share in our apartment. So something I would definitely recommend is, once you get contact information for your roommates or whoever else you'll be in a room with, whether it's one other person or multiple other people, to really just reach out to them. It may seem like scary at first. I know when we first got all of our contact information, no one spoke to anyone for a good like 2 weeks. And then we realized, we need to break the ice like right away and get to know each other before we move in, because it's better to really just figure out who you're with, plan out what you need, what we can share, because that also is very helpful. So there's not a lot of space. Even in my apartment, there wasn't a lot of space to share. So it was really important to us to minimize the amount of stuff we're bringing in. So if there was anything we could share from appliances, or for example, what was really helpful in our case was water heaters, like an electric kettle for tea or whatever it may be. That was something we kind of like got off the bat. One person would buy this, another person would bring this, and we kind of all chipped in to help with costs, but also to minimize the amount of stuff we're bringing in.
Sweet. Well, thank you for sharing that. I know housing, especially off campus, is a beast of a thing to figure out, but having all the tips is super helpful. Andreen, I know you've had a question to ask.
Yeah, I have a question for housing. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
I was just wondering if you could clarify one question that we often get from students, and that is whether or not there is family housing on campus yet, or if there's plans for family housing in the future. I know we have some transfer students that have dependents that they bring with them to campus.
From my understanding, there is family housing, but I believe it's for professional staff and faculty at the moment. I can follow up on that to see that there might be some for grad students as well, but I don't believe we have family housing for undergraduates. It's something that's definitely in our strategic plan, and if I know that there's also a plan to build housing for just more faculty and staff, because even as a faculty and staff member, sometimes, San Luis Obispo can be a competitive market. So our goal right now, we house between about 35 to 40% of our students on campus. Our goal is to get that number up to in the 60s. But for right now, it's just a process of getting there. Yeah, so as far as undergraduates, I'm not aware of any family housing currently on campus.
Thank you, Chris. And then just to clarify, transfer students that are new in the fall, they will also be able to move on to campus on September 13th and 14th so that they're ready to start Week of Welcome with the first year students. Is that correct?
Yes. That is
awesome.
All of the dates and all of our calendar at housing.calpoly.edu and Mustang Move-in, all of that's been updated. And I'll share those pages right now.
Fabulous. Thank you.
That is the move-in page. And here is the general housing page. And all of these all have fantastic information. If there are specific questions that we didn't get to today, again, I'll also put my email in the chat. Don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Great, thank you. And we'll be sure to, when we upload this recording to our website and to the transition toolkit, to also link these specific parts of the website as well. So that brings us to the end of this section of the Transfer Summer Series. So thank you, Chris and Victoria, for being here. To those watching the recording of this, you might see Victoria in the fall as your Transfer Wow leader. So watch out for that when you come for Week of Welcome. And keep an eye on the orientation website and the transition toolkit to see the schedule for our future summer series. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for having us. Thank you so much. And congratulations. Welcome to Cal Poly.